provision of safe and adequate blood and blood products is a national priority. Blood safety is essential to ensure that a patient who comes for treatment is not made sicker by another illness. Blood components must be safe, clinically effective, and of appropriate and consistent quality. Availability of safe and quality blood for a country like India involves a highly complex operation involving various stakeholders, and the magnitude and complexity of issues raises several challenges.
NBTC National Blood Transfusion came in existence after Supreme Court decision in 1996. Before that, we don't have the national body to monitor the blood transfusion services available in the country.
In response to a writ petition filed mentioning the deficiencies of blood transfusion services, the Honourable Supreme Court directed the Union Government to establish a National Blood Transfusion Council (NBTC) under the Additional Secretary, National AIDS Control Organisation, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The programme and activities of NBTC and SBTC shall cover the entire range of services related to operation and requirements of blood banks.
Blood comes under the classification of a drug under the Drug and Cosmetics Act, and hence all blood banks are allowed to function only if they have a valid license from the State Drug Control Department, which is duly approved by the Central License Approving Authority, that is the DCGA.
A license is required for manufacture, collection, sale and distribution of whole human blood and other blood products. Blood component means a drug prepared, obtained, derived or separated from a unit of blood drawn from a donor. Blood product The first case of HIV/AIDS in India was detected in 1986. Since then, the blood transfusion services has gained paramount importance because HIV transmission is highly possible through blood transfusion. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare launched a central scheme of modernization of blood banks in 1989. Subsequently, this scheme was added in the first phase of the National AIDS Control Program in 1992. Blood Transfusion Services, or BTS, is a key component under NACP, which spearheaded the formation of a national blood policy, including plasma policy and the National Blood Transfusion Council. During the first phase of NACP, NACO modernized 815 blood banks and set up 40 blood component separation facilities. During NACP Phase 2, additional blood banks were modernized, model blood banks were established, and blood storage centers were set up in rural areas. During NACP Phase 3, the focus was on ensuring reduction in HIV transmission through blood transfusion and ensuring availability of safe and quality blood. NACP Phase 4 focuses to support 1,300 blood banks and achieve collection of 9 million blood units from NACO-supported blood banks by 95% voluntary blood donation. Strengthening management structure of blood transfusion services and implementing national EQUAS. developing metro blood bank and plasma fractionation centers. During the last 4 phases of NACP, 1,161 blood banks were strengthened by providing them with equipment, manpower, training, transport vehicles, cold chain boxes and consumables. 304 blood component separation units and 34 model blood banks were established. HIV seropositivity in donors declined from 1.2% to 0.2%. Provided financial assistance for voluntary blood donation camps. Blood collection increased from 4.4 million units in 2007 to 9.8 million units by 2013, of which 84% was contributed from voluntary blood donors.
The first and foremost, the most important challenge is that our services are not centrally coordinated and they are in the form of a fragmented and decentralized transfusion service comprised of large number of blood banks. The other important challenge is that while we speak a lot about voluntary non-remunerated blood donation and we speak that most of our blood should be sourced from repeat voluntary non-remunerated blood donors, we are still quite far from there. The statistics of NACO do say that we have reached 84% voluntary blood donation, but here we tend to include the family donors who also walk into our blood banks to donate for their relatives. Despite our knowing the importance of components and despite knowing that 1 unit of blood can lead to red cells, packed cells, the plasma and platelets and all these constituents can be separated and used across different beneficiaries, we still do not have facilities for separating components all throughout. What we look at in the drug rules is that in many of the instances, these regulations have not kept pace with the changing advances in technology. So there are certain aspects of blood transfusion services which have got advanced, but these have not really found their way into the regulations and into the Act. Information is not freely available in public domain pertaining to blood transfusion services. We don't have very clear information regarding where are these blood banks located, what are their operational timings, are they operational for all 24 hours or do they only work from 8 to 8 in the night or even for shorter hours.
Metro Blood Bank project, which is approved by our Honorable Health and Family Welfare Minister for Delhi and Chennai, and after a couple of years it will be in place. Thereafter we have adequate availability of blood component, and we have a sufficient amount of the plasma also to start our own plasma fractionation center, or we can give this plasma to fractionator to ensure the availability of plasma products in the country.
Through e-blood banking, we are wanting to at least get the major things that people are looking for, that is the stock status availability across the blood banks of the country and location of blood group wise blood donors across the country. And this information has to be available in a region sensitive manner. So this information has to be properly GPS linked and provided in a manner that is useful to the user.
Ensuring safe transfusion of blood involves multiple factors and various stakeholders. The key part of the BTS program is the process of blood collection to transfusion, which involves the knowledge and skills of the entire blood bank team. Capacity building of staff and improving the quality of testing and transfusion services are the key focus areas of the NACP 4 program. Hence, blood bank staff should be vigilant in ensuring quality in their entire process. Together, we ensure quality in blood transfusion services.